Hello, it's ZachStar, and I am back from watching episode 2 of Disventure Camp, season 5, Fans vs. Favorites. And I have to say, I'm extremely surprised by the episode. First off, the fans somehow ended up winning the challenge, meaning Evie would not be going home. The favorites split themselves up into two sides, leaving Allie and Benji in the middle with the power to sway the vote. They must decide whether to vote out Fiore or Aiden. Obviously, Allie wants to keep her friend Aiden in and not betray his trust. Although, Allie is at the bottom of her alliance with Aiden and would eventually be voted out. This makes Aiden a good target to split the alliance up and give everyone on the favorites team a fighting chance. Luckily for Spencer, he finds a hidden scroll that tells him whoever will be voted out won't be eliminated, but will have to swap teams instead. Spencer then proceeds to tell Natalia this information, who then passes it along to Allie. Allie then decides to vote for Aiden because she wouldn't feel as bad voting him considering he wouldn't be eliminated. Once Aiden arrives at the fans camp, he then has to pick a fan player to go to the favorites team. But the player who was chosen does not get revealed. I will get into who I think this will be later in the video. Lastly, while climbing in the trees, Ren ends up finding an immunity totem. I think this will be extremely important in the near future of the season. Anyway, with that crazy information of episode 2 explained, it's time to get into my guesses for episode 3. First and foremost, we need to figure out who will be eliminated in episode 3. I think with Aiden going to the fans team, it is significantly harder to predict what is going to happen. It is inferred that Aiden will be picking Bruno to swap teams with him by the lines he says in this clip.
They think getting rid of me breaks up Cyan's reunion? I'll just send over a perfect foil. Threatening comp-wise, dangerously social. They'll strike back.
And if that wasn't enough evidence for you, the episode even ends with Bruno distraught, knowing something unfortunate for him is going to happen. Now with Bruno on the favorites team, he is definitely the odd one out, but he is very social and I think he will find his place there. I feel like he is going to try to keep Aiden's Cyan alliance together to help himself make it further into the game. Now onto the fans team. With Bruno gone, no one besides Ernesto will be trying to take a leader role. I think this gives Aiden the perfect opportunity to stand up and become somewhat of a leader for the fans team, considering he's a fan favorite and he's done well in Disventure Camp before. He should have an easy time getting everyone's following. Alas, in the end, I think the fans team will fall short, leading them to another elimination. I think the team is still inexperienced and has too many weak contestants to be able to beat out the favorites team. And easily, the weakest link on the team has to be Evie. I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again, she is useless. During the challenge, when the teams are tasked on pushing the cart, Evie is one of the pushers. She complains she can't work harder in her heels, and at one point, she just gives up, falls to the floor, and starts crying. This is definitely not the show she signed up for, which is why I think it's time for her to go home. I honestly wouldn't even be surprised if she decided not to go to Rescue Island after she gets eliminated. Anyway, for those reasons, I'm choosing Evie to be eliminated in episode 3 of Disventure Camp, Fans vs. Favorites. Now to discuss who I think will be the winner of Season 5 of Disventure Camp. To stay with consistency, I think it would be smart to keep my winner pick as Dunya, considering she is still a very strong player and not much has changed. There is a plotline brewing that involves her that should strengthen her character. Nura and Dunya have been beefing a lot because of Nura's negative attitude. Nura ends up calling Dunya's spirituality unserious, which ends up being a stab towards her religion. This obviously doesn't sit well with Dunya, and she walks away very upset, while Ren ends up observing the altercation. As Ren starts to form a friendship with Ernesto, he finds out that Ernesto is a woodcarver. Ren then sees Dunya and Nura being visibly upset by each other again, and decides it's time to come up with a plan to help Dunya's situation. Ren ends up asking Ernesto for his help, specifically asking for the skills of an expert woodcarver. It is not revealed in this episode what Ren's plan exactly is, but I have a few theories. My first and more obvious guess is that Ren will have Ernesto make a fake totem to somehow help fix up Dunya and Nura's situation. This would be easy for Ernesto considering Ren has the real totem to use as a guide. Once the fake totem is carved, maybe Dunya, as a sign of friendship, will give Nura the totem, tricking Nura into thinking it's real. So later, they can vote her out with no worries. My second theory is that Ren will have Ernesto build an altar for Dunya. Dunya, while working on the fans' shelter, exclaimed that she was excited to get her altar together once the shelter was complete. Dunya was in a cheerful mood thinking about this until Nura rudely interrupted her. Once Ernesto builds the altar and Dunya begins to use it, Nura might realize how important it is to Dunya and end up apologizing to her for the insults on her religion. Whichever happens, I still truly believe that this will strengthen Dunya's character, making her the winner of Disventure Camp Season 5, Fans vs. Favorites. That is all for this episode. I can't wait to see what ends up happening due to the team swap between Aiden and most likely Bruno. I'm also excited to see what plan Ren has brewing for the next episode. So I will see all of you after episode 3 of Disventure Camp, Fans vs. Favorites. ZachStar, out. Hey, it's ZachStar. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next time.